My name is Len Hughes and I'm a watercolor artist. I've been painting in watercolor now for about 25 years. The approach I take is one of starting from the basics. So I start teaching about materials and supplies, and then on a building block approach talk about various techniques in watercolor. For instance, the flat wash, which is a basic technique in watercolor. Then we move on to what we call the graded wash, where we have a gradation of color on a painting, or the gradation of value on a painting. So I use that as a basis then to work up to a simple painting that students can complete. Here you can see a pencil outline of that. So I would work from the graded wash into this basic northern scene showing pines and rocks and water in the foreground. Then over the course of the 3 days we also talk about color, and here I describe on a simplified wheel, a color wheel that shows the various colors. We talked about the various characteristics of colors, how they interact and how they work alongside one of each other. During the course of the 3 days then we move along, and eventually by the third day we will be able to have something such as this. It looks very complicated, but when we realize that it's a series of both flat washes and graded washes, we can create something like this, and so it's not as difficult as it may seem. So at the end of the 3 days, the students will be able to learn techniques, they'll be able to develop those techniques, practice them, and then during the course of those 3 days come away with about 3 paintings that they, I think, will be particularly proud of. It's not like oil or acrylic, which can be messy. Watercolor is relatively clean to work with. It has its challenges, but nevertheless it's something that somebody can work on at their own time. They can take their own pace when they work through learning to paint in watercolor. But anybody who's interested in expressing themselves and they haven't been able to do so at this point in their lives, yet want to take that opportunity, now may be the opportunity to do that. I will send those people who are registered, I'll send a materials list suggesting what they need to bring, but essentially the Arts Centre supplies the paper, and I'll talk about various forms of paper when we get in our first class. I'll have some brushes available for those that don't have any brushes so far. I have those available for sale at a very, very good price, and we supply the paints at the Arts Centre, together with a small palette they can work on during the classes. I think that's it. I just invite people, if they have a sense of adventure or want to learn more about watercolor or want to paint in watercolor, come along to this workshop. I know they'll enjoy it,